Everybody's going to reach a point in their addiction when they want to stop. Everybody is. And oftentimes, we're not ready to intervene when they're ready to stop. And the other thing that we all need to realize is that many people are going to require multiple episodes of treatment before they really get better. We can't take the approach that just because you've been treated once, we're not going to prioritize you for treatment again. These people are sick and they need help more than once in most instances.
You know, I recently spoke with an addict who is getting medical help with his treatment, and he had just lost his high school-aged brother to a heroin-related problem after taking a fatal overdose. He had a blood clot, and he had told me that minutes count when you make that decision to, I'm going to get off it now. Now I've reached bottom, but minutes count then. His brother couldn't get into a bed for a couple of days, took that fatal shot, and the next day got the call that the bed was there for him, but it was a matter of about 72 hours, and essentially it cost his life. We have another insurance and drug-related question for you, Orman, from Gianna.
Good evening. I'm a Suboxone user. I've been on Suboxone since November of 2013 in the state of Florida. I recently had to move up here for family reasons. I have insurance, I have a job, I'm a productive member of society. I cannot find anywhere that I can, for a doctor to write the prescription or be seen by a medical doctor other than a clinic when I have insurance. I don't understand. That Suboxone or the Subtext, that helped me tremendously. And I think, in my opinion, if it would be offered or more easily accessible, we might not be sitting here seeing every day people dying of heroin.
Yeah. Are we getting there, Orman?
You know what? We are making progress, but there's a lot that we need to do. And if you want to see me after the program, we'll work on your issues. But we do have accessibility issues, and we don't have enough physicians that are prepared in Ohio to prescribe Suboxone and other buprenorphine products, and it's an issue that does require additional attention.
Mark? Let's go back to the audience. Please tell us who you are and what is your question.
I'm Mandy Siebert from Dublin, and I'm kind of new to exposure to heroin drug use. I feel for all of your stories here. It breaks my heart. But my daughter turned 18 last May, got exposed to a crowd that she has never taken a drug or alcohol. Good girl. And somehow it's escalated. She's now living with him. And he is, so question twofold. Back to your just in time. Her, whatever this person is she's living with now, is not even 21, has multiple arrests since he was probably 15 for drugs, guns, heroin, a lot of different things, but has never been indicted because he has the lower amount that doesn't constitute a felony. And I'm kind of in a different situation because I'm still trying to figure out how I can help her. She actually stole her and him things from my home, and I tried to press charges, and they pushed me to civil court. Oh, actually, I'm just saying, it could have been a diversion. It could have saved one person, and it's another thing into the communities. Dublin, people don't want to think they have a problem, but that's where everyone's going. I know so many families that have never even reported instances with their children, and it's sad.
Well, I want to bring Paul back into this discussion because we've had a chance at ABC6 to get to know you and your family, and we know you're loving families, but let's talk about the challenges you have with young adults, our grown children or teenage children, and how do you see the signs that are missed? I mean, you have similar experiences here. Can you talk about this?
Let me just address the Dublin question first. And I can't address the court issue. Brenda is the expert on that, and she can address that because it's really important to you. But for young people, the typical signs of addiction are, change in normal habits with school, not being interested, not staying in sports, change of friends, kind of not knowing where they are all the time. When you ask them things like, "Why are you asking me about drugs? Don't you trust me?" That's a common thing you hear, and that's just. They're simply trying to put that back on you, like I have the problem. I have a trust problem because you know, my young addict is not an addict. They're trying to hide that from me. They're tremendous liars. They can't account for time. Things come up missing from your home. And the other, one of the real big physical signs is that when you look at your young person, if they're using opiates, they'll have pinpoint pupils. And that is just a key sign to opiate addiction. And it's, we can't be afraid as parents to drug test. And when Carroll O'Connor lost his son back in the 1990s, one of the things he said was that he would do everything he could to stand in the way of his son to keep him from dying from an overdose. And I think that as parents, we need to stand up and do everything. We need to stand in their way at every occasion, whether it's drug testing, following where they're going, making them account for their time. All those kinds of things are so critically important because as we all know in this room, you're all here for the same reason, we all know heroin kills people. That's the bottom line. And we're not dealing with some just little issue. We're dealing with a life-changing, family-destroying disease. And so those are some of the signs that I'd want to look for, and then I would have Brenda could answer the questions about the court system.
It's shocking to me that they wouldn't take charges, but I have absolutely heard that before, especially in the suburban communities. But the reality is, sometimes it's the way to get them help is by pressing charges.
I did that. I pressed charges for her stealing, and they said that she had a driver's license with her name, that address, and a key because it was an empty home because it was in the process of being sold. And they stole everything out of it. And the police came, and since she had all that, they walked away. I never got a phone call or anything. And I filed charges in Dublin. It went up, and they were not going to present it to the grand jury. Again, I'm not an attorney and I have to say that, but the other option you have is also, I know a lot of times that we transfer cases from mayor's courts down to the city, down to the county. So that's another option for you. I also find it really shocking, part of what she was stating was that here you have this other person that she's living with who has this progressive criminal behavior that hasn't been held accountable. And a lot of times it comes too late, even for the young man that she's living with. It comes at the cost of his life or someone else's. We've talked about education, and I think a huge component, this is a really complex issue. So to simply say that medication or Vivitrol or treatment beds or prevention, it's much more complex than that. But one really basic core that you start at. I'm always fascinated when we teach drug court and we tell them about what happens to the brain and why they become addicted and why, THC or marijuana and opiate, that it's actually already in your body. And you will see these lights kind of come on for the participants, so this is why I'm not thinking correctly. This is why my cognitive ability is delayed, because I've stopped producing this one thing and now I can't get it back, and I keep using to get it back. One of the biggest things we can do is educate, and educate in a very honest way without making it a moral judgment. Tell them the truth. I've got an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. They absolutely know the truth of what drugs can do. I tell them all the time. I'm sorry.
Stop giving them reasons or desire to buy the product in the first place, and education is where it's got to start.
Tell 'em.
Well put, Andrea. We're